What is up, everyone? Today I want to share with you my review about the Jupiter 3 50mm 1.5. Stay tuned. The Jupiter 3 50mm 1.5 is actually a copy of the Zeiss Sonar 50mm f1.5 and was produced in the UdSSR after the Second World War. First, about the specifications and the version history. The outer appearance of the lens has changed over time, and regarding to the optics, early versions may actually use Zeiss glass produced in Germany, and some later ones may have different coatings as well. So in case you're curious, take a look at the page sovietcamps.com for additional coverage. I am reviewing a quite early lens from 1960. You can look the production year of your lens up by looking at the first two digits of the serial number, which represent the production year. The review sample has the following specifications. It has a diameter of 48mm, a field of view of 46 degrees diagonally, a length of 45mm, a weight of 141 grams, a filter diameter of 14.5mm, 15 rounded aperture blades. It exists out of 7 elements in 3 groups. The close focusing distance is 1 meter, and the maximum magnification is 1 to 16.2. The mount of this lens is the M39, aka Sorky or Leica thread mount. A Jupiter 3 in good condition usually starts selling from about $140 US, or in Germany for a really good condition one it will set you back around 130 euros. Now to the handling and build quality. Not long ago my lens had a CLA, so it was cleaned, looped and adjusted, and the focusing ring as well as the aperture ring therefore operate with ease and quite smooth. In case you buy a used lens from the early years, the grease may have stiffened over times, and so will have the focusing ring. You can either try fixing this yourself or bring it to a repair shop, like I did. Turning the focusing ring from infinity to 1 meter takes about 120 degrees. Turning the aperture ring from f1.5 to f22 takes about 90 degrees. The aperture ring has no click stops. I normally prefer click stops, but in case you consider filming with this lens, you may prefer it this way. There is no official hood I know of, and therefore I bought a Leica styled vented hood with 40.5mm filter diameter, which you can find quite cheap on eBay. This lens is made entirely from aluminium, which contributes to the low weight, but is also very good at attracting scratches. Newer versions are still made from aluminium, but painted black and don't attract stretches as much to my experience. Now to vignetting and color cast. Vignetting is pretty much in line with what you would expect from a lens with these parameters, and from f4.0 onwards, certainly nothing to worry about. There may be the slightest hint of a green color cast in the extreme corners when shooting a white wall, but I checked all my other photos taken with this lens and didn't notice any, so I actually don't consider this as an issue. Now to the sharpness of the lens. At the maximum aperture of f1.5, sharpness and contrast are somewhat dampened, and in the crops you can also see the sonar glow, as it sometimes is referred to. Stopping down to just f2.0 helps to get quite good results in this frame center, but it takes stopping down to f8 for the mid-frame and f11 for the corners to get the similar resolution levels. This lens won't win any sharpness records, but I don't think anyone would have expected it to. I also didn't notice any field curvature. Focusing on the edges won't give you better edge resolution at wider apertures. If you want to do near shots, you will have to use a helicoid adapter to maximize the extension. If you use one of these, you will get around 4 millimeters nearer to your subject, and the minimum focusing distance extends quite a bit. The lens was never intended to be used at these distances and does not incorporate a floating elements design either, which explains the mediocre performance wide open, similar to the behavior of the Zeiss 50mm f1.4 planar, which is even worsened by some whaling haze. Already stopped down to just f2.0, the performance increases to quite good levels. From f2.8 onwards, the resolution in the frame center is even very good. Now to the flare resistance of this lens. The flare resistance is nothing to write home about. With the sun in the frame, the contrast drops significantly and the colored blobs appear. Light sources outside the frame very often introduce rainbows across most of the frame. Now to the chroma. As with many older lenses, chroma correction is rather bad. Wide open, there is chroma all over the frame, even in the center portion. Stopping down to f4.0, traces of the chroma can still be found in the corners, which also still lack sharpness. So therefore I would recommend shooting everything with point light sources near the corner at f11 for decent performance in this area. Now to the distortion. The Jupiter 3 has some pincushion distortion, which is rather unusual for 50mm lenses. In architectural shots you will want to correct these, which there is a Photoshop or Lightroom plugin for. Now to the bokeh. I want to go a bit into detail here, so this chapter may be a little longer than usual. Sonar lenses are known for their distinct kind of bokeh, which is mainly caused by the inheritance of spherical aberrations in the optical design. But if you like the bokeh of a certain lens or not is also a very subjective thing. Nevertheless, I will at least try to be objective here in describing my findings. At f1.5 it really is all about the background. For portraits with the background way out of focus, you can get very smooth bokeh. But with busy backgrounds, on the other hand, the strong outlining will render your background very distracting. Stopping down to f2.0 helps a lot. The outlining nearly goes away completely, and sharpness as well as contrast improve by a huge margin, in which adds to the effect of the subject separation. Thanks to the 15 rounded aperture blades, light circles stay perfectly round on stopping down, so the backgrounds still looks natural.